All right, let's jump right in. You always hear people say English is the global language, right? But how do we actually know that? How do you measure something like that? Well, today we're going to dig into the latest data from the EF English Proficiency Index, and we're going to see exactly which African nations are at the top of their game in 2025.
Okay, I'm going to start with just one number, 29th. That's it. Just tuck that number away for a second.
29th in the entire world. That's where Nigeria lands for its English skills. I mean, we're talking about a powerhouse of the continent. But get this, that incredible ranking only puts them at number 5 in Africa. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If they're 5th, who's number 1? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out.
But hold on, before we jump into the full countdown, we need to talk about where this data is coming from. Because, this isn't just some random online poll. We're talking about a huge global study.
All this info is from something called the EF English Proficiency Index, or EPI for short. And you should know this is kind of the gold standard. It's seen as the most thorough ranking of adult English skills out there. And it's put out by a major player in international education, Education First.
And when I say it's big, I mean it's huge. The 2025 report, it's based on test scores from 2.2 million adults. Not a typo, 2.2 million people in 123 countries. That massive number is what makes these rankings so credible.
The author of the report, Kate Bell, put it perfectly. She said, English acts as a common bridge. And that's really what this is all about, right? It's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about connecting. Connecting to the global economy, to other cultures, to brand new ideas. And that's why this stuff really matters.
Okay, so now that we've set the stage, it is time for the main event. Let's get to the countdown and see who made the top 5 for English proficiency in Africa this year.
Kicking things off at number 5, like we teased earlier, is Nigeria. And remember, that's with a really strong global rank of 29th in the world.
So what's the secret sauce in Nigeria? Well, it's pretty simple. English is just woven into the fabric of the country. It's the official language, which means you hear it everywhere. In government, in schools, in the media, in business. It's basically essential to get by.
All right, moving on up to number 4, we have Zambia. And they actually edge out Nigeria on the global list, landing at 27th place.
With Zambia, one word comes to mind: consistency. See, English isn't just the official language, it's the primary language of instruction in schools. So from a young age, you're learning in English. That constant reinforcement in education and government really builds a solid foundation of proficiency.
And now we're breaking into the top 3. At number 3 for Africa, and this is a big deal, cracking the top 20 in the world, it's Kenya, with an impressive 19th place finish.
The situation in Kenya is pretty interesting because it's a dual-language country. Swahili is, of course, an official language too, but when it comes to the formal stuff, we're talking courts, government, major businesses. English is the one that really takes the lead, and that's what pushes their proficiency so high.
Okay, our runner-up, taking the number 2 spot in Africa, is Zimbabwe. And just look at that global ranking, 13th in the world. I mean, that is absolutely world-class, seriously impressive. So how did Zimbabwe get there? Well, it's like a recipe with a few key ingredients. First, English is the main language for schools and for running the country. Add to that really high literacy rates and a strong, long-standing influence from the British education system, and, well, you've got a powerful formula for fluency.
And now for the moment we've been waiting for. The number 1 English-speaking nation in Africa is South Africa. And they're tied with Zimbabwe for that incredible 13th spot globally. According to this massive study, they are the top of the top.
So what gives South Africa the edge? Well, it's a country with tons of official languages, right? It's incredibly diverse. So English, in that context, plays this really important role as a unifier. It's the common language that everyone can use for business, for media, for university. It basically becomes the glue that helps hold a multilingual society together.
So there you have it. That's our top 5. Let's just take a quick step back and look at them all together, side by side.
Yeah, looking at it like this really makes things clear. You can see a definite pattern, right? Southern and East African countries are really dominating the top spots. You've got South Africa and Zimbabwe leading the pack, not just in Africa, but globally, with Kenya not far behind. But hey, the story isn't just about the top 5. Let's zoom out a bit and see who else made it into the top 10.
Okay, so rounding out the list, we've got Ghana at 6, Uganda at 7, and Ethiopia at 8. And then, this is interesting, you see two North African countries pop up, Tunisia and Morocco. The report notes that English proficiency is really on the rise there, especially with younger generations and in the business world.
So when you look at all this, the big takeaway is pretty obvious. Knowing English is a huge advantage for connecting with the rest of the world. But as we wrap this up, it does leave us with a pretty big question to chew on. As English gets more and more important, what happens to the thousands of other incredible languages spoken all across the continent? What does this mean for Africa's linguistic diversity? Definitely something to think about.